with that you would need, and if you got into an accident, you needed a piece of equipment that was not on there, you would have a second apparatus roll out with everything it's stocked with.
That $450 is per apparatus, okay? Because that could be safety issues out on the expressway on a holiday and stuff, and it's great to have 2 trucks, and you're blocking off a quarter mile down and giving them an idea, and whatever, and sometimes you need a second truck there or whatever, so.
So we're talking full trucks, though, we're not
Right.
talking like your rescue, and then you're like,
No.
oh my gosh, it's worse than they said, now we need jaws of life, and then you're gonna roll something else,
Well,
you know,
no,
how is that gonna prove
on
what I'm
accidents
asking?
and stuff like that, we're rolling the engines.
Okay,
Okay, fires, we're rolling engines and stuff.
Okay.
If the rescue happens to get it, that's an effort. You know, if we just want to alert for traffic and stuff, okay, but we're rolling engines first.
okay, so if you had 2 engines that you rolled for an accident, right?
Mhm.
And then you needed some traffic control, and the rescue truck came out to help with traffic control, is that gonna be a third apparatus that would be charged
By
$450?
then we should have police, and we've got other private vehicles out there with lights on it and stuff like that, and if, I can't remember bringing 3 vehicles out there.
But by definition, they are department apparatus. Everything
Right.
is a department apparatus. It's
And these bills are not sent to the people, they're usually sent to the insurance companies.
But, since I send them, can I speak? If they can give us the insurance information, I send them to the insurance company. Sometimes I send them to the insurance company, if there hasn't been a claim already filed, then I have to go through the individual.
Well, we tell them to send them to their insurance company, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
really ask them to pay it, I mean, they can if they want
Well,
to.
yeah, because we sometimes get denied from the insurance, especially like motorcycle accidents, they wouldn't pay a thing toward it. And so I have to then bill the individual.
I think there's some things we need to do with, down the road with addressing and updating. We just recently updated and received new updating processes from Consumers Energy for power lines down. We need to reach out to some of our insurance companies and develop some mechanisms for direct billing, where
Right.
that might save you some work as well as streamline things for us.
It is difficult to go through all these little off insurance companies to try and
Well,
find a claim.
Part of that falls into, we're not registered, we may not be registered with the claims department, and they just, you know, we're not covering anything.
The
Well,
other
what is
thing
that?
I
You know,
have to
so-
ask about is, there's a lot that go ignored, just ignored. Are we gonna have any recourse?
Well, it
on
says
these?
right here that we can pursue them in district court, but at what point are we gonna make that decision? I mean, is there an amount where we're gonna pursue it? I mean, do we have, and I apologize now that we're on this question, I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean, is there any aspect of this ordinance that's going to allow us to collect our attorney expenses? I mean, we're not gonna go pursuing somebody for $250, say, if it's gonna cost us more than that to actually pursue them in court. I mean, is that automatically gonna be added, or do we need to stipulate that if we're actually gonna pursue them?
I'll try to answer in reverse order. I would always add it. There's nothing wrong with saying we're going to ask for reasonable attorney fees. A lot of judges don't like to provide them because we have the American rule, which means you pay your own fees unless there's a specific statute that allows you. That being said, I always tell people, put it in there that you're going to attempt to collect it, because sometimes you can get it. If you were unreasonably denied, then a judge might say, no, we're going to give that to you. To migrate back towards the first question, to me, it would be logical for the board to contemplate having a list of the bills that go out, and then you guys seeing that list and making that determination on a case-by-case basis. Because if you have something that's under $6,500, you can actually take them to small claims court on your own.
Yes.
When you start getting above $6,500, that's usually enough. I mean, that'd be a lot. I don't know how many volunteers you have, but that'd be a lot of volunteers to show up to
We've never
something.
had that
That'd
I've
be
done.
12 fire trucks. We ain't got it.
Well,
Sure.
I'm sorry. You gotta think about the fact that we have also a charge of 100% of replacement cost if we have damage to supplies or materials, and that's where you're talking about having something catastrophic, you know.
That often comes into the fact that, say, we deal with a train derailment and there's hazardous materials, that having that in that billing mechanism, and that's kind of a standard language that goes throughout the fire service, because we just got 600 feet of 5-inch hose that delivered to Holly Village from the insurance company because it was destroyed when downtown burned. So those type of ordinances are there to replace damaged equipment on fire scenes, and usually that's subrogated back to the insurance companies and through your insurance companies.
When it comes to that,
Oh, I'm
Well, I
sorry.
just wondered, and then do we send them second notices or third notices? How many
I
times
think
before
you'd
we?
send at least a second notice, because what if the first one never even got there?
Well,
Send it as a friendly reminder, and this is your last notice, be the third notice.
Yeah, same thing with our
But-
billing. We don't just send one and call it.
Well,
done.
right, but I mean, I haven't. I mean, no one's directed me to do that. At this point, I send out one letter, and, well, through COVID, we didn't really send too many letters, so now we're kind of getting back into it.
Well, let's address the other astute point that trustee DeShano brought up. If there's an accident, most likely you'd be filing a claim on your own insurance, and then they would subrogate. So then,
Right.
then it's out of your hands.
Exactly.
When we get those, sidebar, when we get those insurance things, next time, give me a call, or have me take a peek at it, because sometimes there might be a way we can backtrack through the insurance company on the denials. And I know it's hard for you, but you've got so much other stuff going,
Well, the thing
that I
is, they
can
don't
help you out
really
look at
come
it.
to me sometimes. Most of it goes to Melissa then,
Well,
because
I
the
think the
name
whole
on it or
process has to
Sherry.
be looked at streamlined and, as to what we're doing. and
We
not
can.
doing.
I think we should contemplate what Saginaw Township actually did. And they took time and went and sat down with Frank Muth Insurance Company. And Frank Muth Insurance Company told them, well, if you did it this way,
Mhm.
the insurance companies will support it. But if you do continue to do it that way, nobody's gonna get on board with you. And since they're so nearby, that's the only reason I say
Well,
that. We're blessed to have somebody like that where you can go sit down with somebody and say, we're trying to make this ordinance work. Can you tell me what's wrong with this? And having someone like that that is very civic-minded, besides just client-minded, would be to our advantage.
Well, I know when I call the insurance company, it's great if I have an agent to contact. If I have to contact
Right.
Geico or
Any other
whatever.
number.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
they don't care.
I probably don't even talk to anyone. It's all a computer, and I just try to give them so it's a hit and a miss, is basically what it is. It's
The
like,
claims department and the insurance companies like to be updated once in a while, as
Yeah.
to what we're doing, what we're not doing,
And-
whether it's fees or whatever.
When you send the notice, you probably already say it, but please forward this to your insurance courier.
well, right.
Or
If
please
I have,
contact us with your insurance
if I
information
can't,
if you
if I
guys couldn't
can't
get it.
find the insurance, yes,
Yeah.
then I do say that, please forward this, and if you're denied, it'll become your responsibility.
And if they're at a scene and it's an accident, they can always have the officer's name. And you could always call the responding agency, whether it's a sheriff or
Get that on that
MSP.
form, guys.
Because if you can get a hold of the officer, he'll give you all the insurance information we needed.
All right, so
Okay.
let's talk about this particular ordinance. I would make a motion to amend ordinance number 2001-003 to read, down under section 2, the first black dot, fire department apparatus, a charge of $450 in place of the $250 per apparatus per accident. In the top of the middle column, which doesn't have a section number, it's still section 2, but the first black dot, fire department apparatus charges of $450 to replace the $250 per apparatus per incident for all actual emergencies. The sentence right after that, a charge of $200 in place of the $100 be per apparatus for all incidences requiring investigations only. And then the last thing under section 4, where it speaks of collection of charges, I would think that right at the end of that, we could put including reasonable attorney fees and or court costs.
That's the canned line that we have on all our stuff.
So that would be a line just added to the first paragraph of section, well, the end of section 4, including reasonable attorney fees and/or court costs. Do I hear a second?
No second.
Take your time, take your time. I got a rope here, you can have it.
Okay.
See, we're packing all
Before,
the
before we actually take the vote here, I do wanna say that I think there's been several things in this discussion that merit looking into a little further to make sure that we are maximizing the process, that we have an up-to-date procedure that puts us in the best position to actually collect. So by agreeing to update this ordinance, I would just encourage the board not to let this be a dead issue because we now are gonna collect more money on it, but that we do pursue that procedure a little bit more because the fire department is the most expensive bill that we have in this township. And while we need to go ahead and collect the money on it, we need to make sure that we're being successful in how we're doing it as well. So just a comment to add to the discussion.
Cody.
So we have a motion on the floor, moved and seconded.
Cruz,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson,
Yes.
DeShane.
Yes.
All right.
Before you move on, would you want to possibly blend those two ideas together and have the board authorize trustee Campbell to pursue his idea?
Okay, so then my question would be, is if we're going to maybe get the ordinance, copy of it from the other township, how much of this ordinance can we change without actually going back and holding public hearings and everything else?
Well, you don't have to hold a public hearing for a police ordinance. A zoning ordinance, you have to have public hearings and different things. You can, for police ordinances, you can amend them on the fly. The question becomes, depending on the penalty, it might be a 30 days from publication or immediate publication. So for something like this, you actually already said we're interested in adding the verbiage about collecting, we're interested in changing $3 amounts, or I'm sorry, yeah, $3 amounts. That doesn't mean that you can't still keep this on, add this to old business and keep this on the A burner. I don't want to say the front burner, but A burner, to be able to go have that meeting with Frankenmuth Insurance to see, hey, do we need to change it further?
Because Kurt and I could go down there.
He does not want to be in this mix. You've been watching the body language. He wants the chief.
But the chief already said with his sign language, Kurt had to deal with this, right, chief?
But just so the people at Frankenmuth know they have the right to talk to somebody, you might want to have somebody make a motion
Draft the letter.
authorizing Charlie to have that conversation. Charlie and Chief.
I will make a motion then to authorize Charlie and the fire person of his picking to
Fighting.
go visit with maybe Frankenmuth Insurance.
That's Franklin's Mutual, I believe. That's who we
Frankenmuth
used to
Mutual
use.
Insurance. In regards to this particular ordinance, you're probably gonna have to pick a person and maybe send them our ordinance first and say, here's what I got, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd fax it to him.
And I'll entertain a motion to that effect. And we'll put this on the August meeting under old business. Unless I hear different from you that you're not ready for the August meeting on the 14th.
So we'll have these drafted changes ready for when we are ready to, I'll call them and ask them what they, are looking at, and they'll say, send this.
Who's typing it?
No,
You're gonna have to send a new copy anyways to have it
Right.
published, so you might as well give a copy of whatever's published to
Right.
trustee
Well-
Campbell.
Shirley's like, my hole's getting deeper.
Unfortunately, this is short ordinance. so.
Anything else we have?
This is for a non-typist, but that's okay. Anyone want to second that?
I seconded it.
I guessed that.
Sam and Sherry.
Oh, but he changed it, okay.
I don't think this needs to be a roll call vote, so all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
You seconded the actual changing of the, but this is sort of an add.
That was an add-on motion.
And we have no sheriff's report?
No, we'll probably have them tomorrow. Sometimes they bring them the day after our meeting, so we got 2 the next month, so who knows? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. Okay, who made it?
I did.
I'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
For 8:29. Oh, cool.
We had a list. I made the list.